Hey guys, Pengu here. Let's talk about how a back-to-back world champion warms up in Rainbow Six Siege. Before we get into warming up inside the game, we need to make sure that we've done what we need to get comfortable and focused in real life first. To some people, this can be a repetitive routine that they've been doing throughout their day or just shortly before gaming, and for other people, it can be as simple as just getting comfortable, and that will simply unlock the gamer mode and that high-end focus. I, for example, always sit about a forearm's length away from the monitor, with my elbow locked to the edge of the desk. That kind of tells my body that it's gamer time, and that kind of enables that focus. Usually when I warm up before playing, it'll take about 10 minutes give or take, and that's usually because I'm just very eager to get into the game. If you need longer to warm up, spend more time, and if you think you need a little bit less time, of course, play with that as well. Once you're comfortable, let's go over the basics. When warming up, it's super important that we touch on as many areas as possible. We want to be making sure that our wrist, and our arm, and the shoulder are all warmed up. On top of this, we also want to make sure that we also do different training scenarios, such as flicking, tracking, and speed. Now, depending on what exact FPS game you're playing, you'll be needing different amounts of these areas. However, for Rainbow Six Siege, we don't have the most tracking. That's due to the fast time to kill and one-shot headshot elements in the game, and the fact that people can jump or do crazy movements. However, it's still good to practice your tracking so that if you're going to be potatoing on an enemy, at least you look good while doing so. And of course, you can also take tracking into other games that you might be playing, and therefore just work upon the entirety of your aim. Rainbow Six Siege, however, does play heavily into both precision, but also movement in the sense of moving while shooting. Seeing as in Rainbow Six Siege, you don't get any aiming penalty for moving while shooting as in games like CSGO or Valorant. You can be running around leaning and still be fully accurate, so that means you need to be able to move accurately while still shooting accurately. So utilizing leaning and basically doing as much damage as possible while taking as little damage as possible. Now, there are multiple ways of going about this. You can either boot up Rainbow Six Siege and do some T-Hunt sessions, and or you can go to a third-party aim trainer such as AimLab, which is free on Steam, by the way. I personally prefer doing a bit of both. The uptime of the aim trainer and getting to utilize every second that you're in it, versus the loading screens and looking for enemies and terrorist hunt. However, the aim trainer doesn't necessarily give you that in-game feeling of actually fighting opponents, so before hopping into a ranked game, I would still advise doing a bit of terrorist hunt. But there's no doubt that for warm-ups purposes, aim trainer is king due to the downtime being so low. We want to touch upon the three different areas as mentioned earlier. We'll start by speed. The generic grid shot is most people's favorite task. It's easy and you can't really go wrong with it. Personally, when I try and push myself in short-term speed, I would rather want to do the tile frenzy task, as it isn't about accuracy at all, but just being stupid fast. Next up, we got precision. Here we can use smaller targets and take our time hitting them. This is also a great indicator for whether your sense is right for you. If it's too high, you'll often overflake and struggle to lock onto the target. If it's too slow, you won't even get close enough to actually hit the target. Remember, there is no such thing as the perfect sensitivity. It all comes down to what works for you, and of course, what kind of desk and mouse mat space you have available to your setup. And lastly, this is my favorite task, tracking. Rainbow Six Siege, as mentioned, doesn't allow for a ton of tracking, so this line of task is what I enjoy the most. And as a Rainbow Six Siege player, I actually would say that my tracking is pretty good, which is thanks to Apex Legends. While tracking might not be directly necessary, I still think it's an important aspect to warm up. If you're going to be potatoing an enemy, as I mentioned earlier, you'd rather want to do that well than just outright missing everything. Once you feel warmed up and ready to take on the world of ranked, boot up Rainbow Six Siege, jump into a terrorist hunt or two, and just quickly get familiar with the movement again. Aim trainers are great for your mouse hand, but now we need to involve the keyboard hand. I recommend a round of T-Hunt with a DMR or semi-automatic weapons going for accurate headshots. In your second round, you can then go for a bunch of spraying and shooting and recon controlling with any automatic weapon. Now, there is the question of music. Some people would love to use music while warming up. I, for example, only use it for when I really want to get into that groove and really get into my gamer mode. For other people, they always use it, and some never use it. Whatever works for your warm-up routine is what matters the most. So take hints from different people and build up your own personal perfect warm-up scenario. Use that every time before playing for a couple minutes, and you might just see yourself with improvements on the battlefield of rank. Now you can jump into a sweaty ranked gameplay, all warmed up, and hey, if you're still losing elo, at least it wasn't because of a lack of warm-up or a lack of preparation. So, get that elo. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.